Question: what's a percolator? The part of the bong where the water sits. It's a coffee-making device where you keep ground coffee in a mesh strainer and let barely boiling water on the stove percolate to the top and wash over the grounds. We had the Procter Silex white ones with blue flowers for generations. I've seen metal ones. Usually the top is glass, so you can see the water bubbling percolating over the top. People keep talking about the ones on the stove, but I've only seen the ones that stand alone and plug in. Some people call them coffee urns, but the coffee is percolated coffee. Coffee maker or a jiggly ass? DJ Fung? There was a fish? Yes, I know what a percolator is, I've even used one. It's time for the twerculator. I've heard the word before, but had to look it up to learn what it was. It's a coffee-making device like a mocha pot that sits on the stove. To my understanding, it's a coffee-making device that circulates water through coffee grounds via a sort of bubble pump. They used to be the main way to brew coffee, but these days are mostly phased out in favor of drip brew machines. I'm 24, but I'm also a technology nerd, so I tend to know more about older machines like this than is probably normal. A type of coffee maker. Farberware-made electric ones still have one, but I learned to make coffee with a Pyrex glass one. Percolators are great as long as you let them brew long enough to make strong coffee. A drip maker or French press works better. Cold brew is also good. I think I might be obsessed with coffee. I own all of these. From Wiki, a coffee percolator is a type of pot used for the brewing of coffee by continually cycling the boiling or nearly boiling brew through the grounds using gravity until the required strength is reached. The grounds are held in a perforated metal filter basket. 1. I suppose it's a thing that percolates something about soaking through. I know what a percolator is despite not being from the US. One time my grandmother was making me as a young adult breakfast and she started making coffee in her drip coffee maker. While she did it, she said out loud, but not to anyone in particular, and now we'll start the percolator. A short pause. Well, it's actually more of a dripulator. It was hilarious, but I don't think I laughed. I just took it in and now I think of that moment often. Also, I'm 34 and grew up in the Midwest, and I know what a percolator is. I'm 44 in America. I knew it was a coffee maker, but I've never heard anyone refer to it that way. I likely read it. If you were talking about coffee, camping people know it. Percolators are sold in the camping aisle of big box stores because you can make coffee over a campfire or camp stove with it. Teakettle shape, glass knob on top to see the percolation happen and the color of the coffee. I'm Gen X 50s and did not know the term growing up in a no-coffee household, however. A dance from the late 90s, early 2000s. It is a coffee maker. I had a metal one for camp. The coffee had to be placed in a special filter with holes on the corners to fold the filter into itself to keep the ground separated from the water as it boiled on the stove. My dad has a 100 glass one. Yeah, percolators were how people made coffee at home in the 50s and 60s and maybe before that. Usually, percolator coffee was really bad tasting coffee that tasted burnt and bitter.